Sam Urie, publisher Utah Business Magazine, with Spencer Young, Chief Executive Officer of Young Automotive Group, and one of our CEO of the Year awardees. Spencer, thank you for spending some time with me today. Talk to me just a little bit. You made mention of a ritual you have every morning, reading magazines. Tell me some of the magazines you read and why you read them.
I have a checklist of 30 items that I do during the day's period that corresponds with the goals that I've set. And one of those is reading magazines and books. And I usually get up between 4 and 5 every morning, and the first 2 to 3 hours I spend reading. And the reason why I read a multitude of magazines is to get, like one of them is called American Interest, and it gives a flavor of what's going on in America. One's is an international publication, what's going on internationally. One's the Utah Business Magazine, what's going on in our state. So it's business specific, it's philosophy specific, but it's a wide range. The same with my books, you know. So every morning, my dog sits by my side, and I spend at least 2 hours reading and studying. And so that's how I start my day. And then I like to start the day with writing a couple thank you cards. 2 to 4 in the morning, depending on what happened the day before. I think it's good to start the day grateful. And I think people that get a thank you card, a sincere thank you card, are grateful. And I think it does healing for myself. If I'm anxious or upset, or by expressing gratitude to others, it kind of calms you down. And so I think it's a lost art, but that's one of the things I do in the morning is I write some thank you cards to start the day grateful. So I was exposed to the car business from my grandfather, and he grew up in Morgan, started the business in 1925. My dad, I remember coming home all the time with those calculators that had the tape roll, and he would set up a card table in the middle of our living room, and all weekend long he'd be calculating, and we loved that because we'd rip off that tape and roll it up and spread it out to sword fight, you know. And so I think I grew up in a wonderful environment as a youth, and then as we started to get older and to get exposed with the business, my dad started to having us work there. And if I go back to originally when we started, in the business, we were pulling weeds. You know, we would pull the weeds and wash the windows, sweep the floors as young as 8 or 10. My grandfather was he was a genuine leader in Morgan, in Utah, and Davis County. In fact, he was on the board of Weber Basin Water. He was a pilot. He had 3 daughters and a son. The son died as a baby, but he had 3 daughters. And one was my mother. But Jack Olson was a great example to get in the car business.
Tenacious businessman,
yeah,
similar to you. Talk to us a little bit about your father and your mother.
My father worked a lot, and a lot on the weekends. And of course, he was the son-in-law. One summer, as I finished a semester at Weber, he says, "Why don't you come to work for the summer to earn your next semester's tuition?" And so I thought, well, that's a good idea. And I could probably make, I don't know, over a summer, maybe I could make $3,000 or something. And he put me in a position called the F&I, Finance and Insurance Manager. And back then, which is probably 78, the finance department was really non-existent. It was kind of a new thing for the car business. Most people would come in, buy a car, go to their bank, get the money, and come back and pay. Now, dealerships usually arrange the money somehow with banks or credit unions internally. So when I started, I thought, okay, I'll work for 3 months, earn enough for the next semester. And I liked it so well, and I made good money, and I never left. But that led me into something with my dad that was I really cherish. Because back then, every contract, every transaction was recourse, meaning the dealership took the gamble. So if something went wrong, we'd have to go repossess the car. So every deal was recourse. So, and Dad was over the business office, so On every car deal, I had to go in and sell him these deals because we were signing, or at that time he was signing, that he was on the hook for it. He taught me a lot in how to try to evaluate people's character, evaluate how their history went, to make a decision that put him in at risk.
Spencer, let's go back to 2008. And I have to be honest with you, I'm sure times were very, very tough for a lot of different dealerships. They were closing down right and left, it seemed like, in the news. You didn't. You weathered the storm. And talk to me a little bit about that. How did you?
2008, 2009 was very scary to be in the car business. For me, I had 2 GM stores, and I had a Chrysler store with a GM store. Now, the 2 franchises that were going bankrupt were General Motors and Chrysler. Okay, so all of my new car dealerships were at risk. So the scariest thing for me every day, and it was horrible, was they were sending out letters of cancellation of your franchise. And we knew they were coming. And they would send you a letter, a good or bad letter. You're in or you're out. And so every day my office kind of overlooks where the UPS truck and this FedEx truck comes in. Every day when they'd drive in, my heart would just be pounding because I knew I'd have that letter someday. Are you in or you out? And you've got millions of dollars invested. And you've got all those employees that you've trained and you have relationships with. So it was a scary moment. The fortunate thing is all of our stores got the good letter. We did get one bad letter, and we lost the Cadillac franchise. I learned that I need to spread my risk. So I started to embark on, I need some foreign franchises, I need some Ford franchises, I need to spread the risk. So now we have Toyota, Honda, Subaru, Kia, Ford, Chrysler.
How many brands?
We have 13 different brands.
13 different brands.
And because some are up, some are down, and it kind of goes like this over the years.
I appreciate the opportunity that you've given our viewers today to get to know you, the inner workings, the semantics of Young Automotive Group. And I encourage all of our viewers to go to youngautomotive.com and learn more about the dealerships, the 13 different brands that are represented. I understand the publisher at Utah Business Magazine drives a Tahoe from Young Automotive Group, and I appreciate that. Thanks for watching today. Tune in next week for another Utah Business Spotlight, and thanks to our Chief Executive of the Year awardee, Spencer Young at Young Automotive Group. Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you very much.